journaling is so popular, why do we only ever see it on social media? Hi, I'm Silver, and this is a comprehensive guide to low-effort bullet journaling with a focus on functionality that still yields a neat, visually satisfying result. Let's go! So what is bullet journaling? Bullet journaling is an infinitely personalizable method of keeping track of anything and everything in your life, be it tasks, scheduling, or just random thoughts. Our brains are pretty freaking awesome, but they're best for generating ideas, not storing them. We need an independent system capable of serving as our hard drive, or we risk suffering a constant drain in our focus, which is arguably a person's most valuable resource. Why a bullet journal though? Well, the thing is, anything else comes with a preset format. Your calendar app can only do so much, your notes are a mess, and your to-do list almost qualifies as an elimination at this point. I might be projecting a little here. Dotted paper offers all the freedom of a blank page and all the structure of a grid. While shaping a journal to accommodate your needs takes time, you have the freedom to design a system that is uniquely perfect for you. As someone who went from using 5 productivity apps to using just the one journal, I can attest to the fact that it does actually pay off. The tools you need to design a system that works for you are a dot grid notebook, a pen, a marker, and correction tape. A ruler can come in handy too, but mostly to save time. You can certainly go without. I personally also use washi tape to help with organization, which I'll explain in a bit, but that's another thing you can forgo, so don't worry about it if you don't have any on hand. With our materials acquired, let's talk philosophy. I've only ever seen bullet journaling done in one of two ways, which I'll call the artsy method and the practical method. The former is what we see most often in social media. Drawings, calligraphy, color-coded charts, dopamine in notebook form, basically. I personally feel that the more you decorate your journal, the less practical it becomes, as all these additions require maintenance. While artsy journals are a fantastic creative outlet, their purpose as a second brain inevitably becomes, well, secondary. The other option is demonstrated best by the creator of the system, Ryder Carroll. The practical method is easy to use and easier to maintain, but it has faults of its own. The monotone design can make a system created to instill order look messy, which is perhaps the last thing you want your bullet journal to be. The thing is, these options belong on two opposite ends of a spectrum, and absolutely no one will force you to settle on either side. My method is designed to produce good-looking, neat results with minimum effort. And to achieve that goal, we'll have to hack the human brain and piggyback on one of the things that please us most: patterns. See, us humans are so conditioned to find joy in repetition that even a simple pattern can make a monumental difference in how we perceive our journals, as long as it's consistently applied. Thus, you get a pretty clean, organized result, and all you have to do is this. 1. Write your titles in marker in the upper left corner of the page using all caps. 2. Anything else you write is moved one box down to the right and uses no caps. 3. Unless your handwriting is very small or your boxes are very big, leave an empty line between notes. And voila! That's all it takes to establish a pattern. Now you have a deceptively good-looking journal that is as easy to maintain as Ryder Carroll's. Finally, we can get into actually creating your journal. In this section, I'll go over the bare bones of the bullet journal, the things I would consider absolutely necessary when you're just starting out. Recall that the journaling experience is an individual thing though. Don't hesitate to ditch or improve on my suggestions as necessary. The first page of your bullet journal is the one thing I insist you don't forgo: your key. It may seem like such a trivial thing, but the amount of labor making that one page will save you later in the game is absurd. See, when creating formats, you'll have to divide your page in 2 or 3 or 7 or whatever other number you fancy. Knowing the measurements of your page is paramount. For example, my pages are 42 boxes long and 27 boxes wide. These numbers may vary depending on the notebook you use, so I encourage you to count the boxes in yours carefully. With that done, we'll attend to the other functionality of the key page, the actual key. You'll need a way to mark tasks, both pending and completed, migrated tasks, scheduled tasks, notes, events, deleted or irrelevant tasks, and anything else you might want to keep track of. With that done, we can move on to the next page of your bullet journal, the index, which will track the various entries in your journal and their location. I'll be the first to admit that I don't use an index, but I recommend trying to use one regardless, if only because I've seen other people find value in it where I couldn't. If it ends up not suiting you, the worst that will happen is a loss of a page, and I'm pretty sure that we can all survive that sacrifice. Initially, your index should look like this. We'll come back to fill the rest in later. Next is the first of our scheduling pages, the future log, or your year at a glance page. Here, you'll be storing all the events and commitments that are too far away to write down elsewhere. Birthdays, weddings, exams, you name it. Your journal will only have one such page, so while it takes a while to set up, you can find solace in the fact that you won't have to do it often. Each month section has 3 parts: the layout at the top, the actual events or reminders that you're tracking in the middle, and at the bottom, the task for this month. There might be very few of them. For example, I need to go to do a blood test in June. It doesn't matter when in June I do it, not really, so I won't attach it to a specific date. The bottom of the page will do wonderfully though. There are more scheduling pages ahead, albeit much less complex ones, but they're preceded by what I'd consider the most important part of my own bullet journal, the purpose page. The purpose page is my own addition to this system and an example of the available personalization. I added it after reading Giovanni Deanspan's Mindful Self-Discipline, which is one of the books that most affected me in recent years. This page houses my aspirations, which are ideals I want to design my life around, and my quarterly goals, which are the more concrete applications of these same concepts. For example, my first aspiration is independence in its various forms. I've already set myself on the path most likely to get me where I need to be, so now I just need to ensure that I stay on it. Hence the effort to maintain my good habits and routines, which is my first quarterly goal. Every goal corresponds to one or more of my ideals and brings me closer to it. It's very hard to live purposefully when you don't know what you're fighting for or don't have your path laid out for you. I cannot recommend this book enough, if only for the detailed exercises it offers anyone who wants to find their purpose. With that done, you'll want to construct your monthly log or your month at a glance page. You know these things you wrote down in the future log? Yeah, they're going in here now, so that you don't have to use the future log frequently. You'll still find yourself opening it on occasion to write on events that won't occur this month, of course, but beyond that, you get to ignore the future log until June. If you're into the use of habit trackers, which I highly recommend, this would be a great place to add one in. There are infinite designs online for those, but I'd like to share the one that works best for me. It's simple, it's nice looking, and it's wonderfully practical. You'll notice that beyond my daily tasks, I have other trackers below. These, like my habits above, are designed to cater to my quarterly goals. It's a great way to ensure that you're making measurable progress on them, which is the entire reason why you selected them to begin with. One of my quarterly goals is to maintain my existing relationships, which is made easier by this list I use for tracking how social I've been this month. If you're having trouble maintaining your relationships, especially long-distance ones, definitely give this tracker a shot. It makes a previously daunting task so deceptively easy that it's hard to believe it's something I used to have trouble with at all. With that behind us, we're left to attend to the weekly and daily logs. You will once again copy the events and tasks in your monthly log and schedule them by hour if they occur at a certain time. The real magic happens in your daily log, however, which looks something like this. This is taken from April's log in my previous journal, and I picked a particularly complex day so that I could better demonstrate its use. I had 10 tasks on my list on April 10th, 4 of which I actually completed. 2 were deemed irrelevant or unnecessary, 2 were scheduled in my weekly log, and 2 were migrated to the next day because I didn't have time to attend them. Deceptively simple, infinitely useful. At last, we're done with scheduling, but recall that the bullet journal isn't just an alternative to a calendar. It's designed to store all your thoughts, whether or not they have to do with your schedule or tasks. I like keeping my thoughts organized in lists. I haven't copied the details in yet because I didn't want to spoil my future content, but you get the gist of it from the titles. We've stumbled upon a problem though. These lists are allocated space within the month of May, even though they have nothing to do with it. Isn't that an issue? Not at all. That's what our index is for. We'll just log all these items into it, or like I do, mark the bottom of these pages with washi tape. It makes them incredibly easy to find and spares you the work of using an index. I mark the first page of each month with washi tape at the top for the same reason. And that's it! We're done with everything you need when constructing a bullet journal. Now all that's left is to actually use it. To make the transition easier, let's take a look at what a few weeks of bullet journaling look like for me. We'll start with my monthly log, which is actually pretty full. About half these entries are stuff that I wrote in later. For example, on the second week of the month, somebody invited me to an event at the last week of the month. And since I don't have a weekly tracker for that week yet, I logged it in the monthly log. The idea is to log things in the nearest section possible. If it's something that occurs today, it belongs in the daily log. If it's something that happens this week, mark it in the weekly log. If it's something that you were invited to this month, track it in the monthly log. And if it's something that happens like a few months away, that is what you have the future log for. The idea is that the majority of your interaction with your bullet journal happens in 3 pages: your daily log, your weekly log, and your habit tracker. That's it. That's the trick. After my monthly log comes my habit tracker, in which you can see that I'm very good at keeping to my morning routine and very bad at doing my evening routine, which is mildly embarrassing but extremely useful information to have. Like, I wouldn't know this if I wasn't tracking it. Then finally we get to the weekly log. That too begins pretty empty, and I'll schedule things in as I go. You can also use the section for time blocking if it's something that helps you with productivity. Finally, last but not least, we get to the daily log. And I think that this is where the use of patterns really shines. Look! The title is left aligned and capitalized, everything else is moved 1 box into the right, And despite the fact that there is complete chaos on this page, it looks extremely neat. Look at this exact same section in Writer Carol's journal, for example. It serves the same functionality, but it's much less easy on the eyes. And that's it, you're ready to go. Good luck! If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them down below. And if you ever upload your insights about your bullet journal, definitely tag me, I would love to see them. Alright, until next time, bye!